Hi, Phil Schoenberg for Fastpitch Power. We had one of our Instagram followers ask a really excellent question. He was teaching one of his students, or as a coach, one of his players, how to throw the Riseball, and trying to get this particular pitcher to understand how important it is to have that really, really tight 6 to 12 spin on the ball. But no matter what he seemed to do, she really couldn't seem to consistently get that 6 to 12 spin on the ball. And in his question, he said, I went online and I looked at some of the top pitchers in the country throwing rise balls, and it looked to me like the spin wasn't always 6 to 12, that sometimes the spin was bullet-like, but it was still a rise ball. Now, let's put aside the fact that it may have been misinterpreted based upon the angle at which the pitch was filmed and whether or not that particular pitcher was using a 4-seam grip or a 2-seam grip. All of that can change the pattern of the seams as they spin through the air. But his next question, which is the most important question, was, is the direction of spin and is the spin itself really that important? Well, let us start to answer that question, and we've been through this numerous times as far as movement pitches are concerned. What do we want a movement pitch to do? The answer is move. So we've discussed a number of times that it is not the direction of your hand, nor is it the movement of your body that makes a movement pitch move. It is the spin. So the simple answer to his question is yes, spin is critical in developing consistent and effective movement pitches. The faster the spin, the later the movement. We've talked about that as well. You want that ball traveling from the pitcher's hand down the pitching lane and moving as close to the batter as possible. Batter has to make up her mind as to whether or not she is going to swing at a pitch when it's about halfway down the pitcher's lane, the pitching lane. So if the ball has gotten 25, 30 feet out of the pitcher's hand and the batter thinks, well, that ball's going to be right about here, and that's where the batter puts their bat, and the ball moves within 4 or 5 feet of the plate, well, as a pitcher, you have thrown an extraordinarily effective movement pitch. And that movement is predicated on how tight and how fast you're making that ball spin. I'm a big golf guy, and every now and then the Golf Channel will take you behind the scenes at either a ball manufacturer or a golf club manufacturer. And what they will do is they will show you how they're trying to develop a new driver, how that driver can impact the ball with maximum effect and consistency time after time after time. So they put the golf club on this machine that is designed to have an absolutely perfect swing path over and over and over again and deliver that club face right back to the center of that ball, or have the ball in the center of that club face every single time it swings. They're looking for launch angle, spin rate, moment of inertia. They're looking for all those things. The ball manufacturer wants to make sure that their ball is balanced and pure, and when it hits the middle of the face of the club, it's going to go exactly true the way they want that club to affect the impact of that ball. Now, if I'm a manufacturer of softballs and I am trying to develop a perfectly balanced, perfectly seamed softball that is going to spin true when I throw a 4-seam fastball or whatever it is that I throw, I'm going to put that softball on a similar machine. And I'm going to have the equipment necessary to analyze how that machine is delivering that ball consistently. Well, why don't they just have a pitcher or a golfer hit the ball? Because we're not machines. And even though we may strive to throw the ball with perfect spin, and let's talk about what that is. Rise ball is what he was talking about. So you want to grip the ball for a rise ball so that as you release, you are getting 4-seam spin. That's how we teach, because 4-seam spin will give you true spin to down the pitching lane and to home plate. And we want that 4-seam spin, that 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock on a clock, to be as consistent as possible. Spin. Now, you know if you're spinning it correctly, that ball hits the ground and it takes off behind you. For a curveball, I want that perfect 3 to 6 spin. As a pitcher, am I going to deliver the ball every single time like a machine would? No. There are variations in the movement of my body, my hand path, my wrist angle may change a little bit as I move toward the release zone. However, striving to impart that perfect spin on the ball. 6 to 12 for a Riseball, 3 to 6 for a curveball, 12 to 6 for a drop ball. We want to make sure that we are, to the best of our ability, imparting the correct spin on the ball. Is it always going to be perfect? No. May you still throw an effective Riseball if your spin is somewhere between what would be a perfect Riseball spin and perhaps a screwball spin. There's a lot of similarities between how you position your body and how you deliver a Riseball and how you deliver a screwball. And just a tiny bit of variation in your stride or the movement of your hand in a forward track. If I want to throw a Riseball, I want my track to be forward. I want that ball going 35 feet straight down the middle of the plate, and then as it gets to within 4 or 5 feet of the batter, I want that to have 6-8 inches of elevation. So I want to keep my hand on that forward track. I don't want to come off, because that's going to turn it into a screwball. And when you move that little bit from a forward track throwing a Riseball to a slightly side track throwing a screwball, you may very well get that bullet spin. But because of the velocity of some of these top college pitchers, and because of how much spin there is on the ball, and the fact that they finished with their hand a little bit higher than they would for a fastball or for a screwball, they're still getting that late lift. They may get late lift, and they may get also movement inside to a right-hand batter if they're a right-hand pitcher. The objective of a movement pitch is make the ball move. It is the spin that makes it move. Now, a perfect curveball, a perfect Riseball will move. Will it always move perfectly? No, but it will still move. And movement is movement. And if I think as a hitter that the ball is going to be one place, and as the pitcher, I want the hitter to think it's going to be here and end up here, but how about if the hitter thinks it's going to be here and it ends up here? So it has still gained altitude, but maybe it also moved to the side a little bit. It's still movement. You're going to take the ball off the fat of the bat, and it's going to give a tremendous advantage to the pitcher. So the question as to whether or not spin is important and direction of spin, yes. Always strive for optimal biomechanics. Will you always achieve optimal biomechanics? No, you will not. But that doesn't mean that you should not try. I hope that this has been useful and answered the question that was asked on Instagram. Always love to hear your comments and how you're doing with your movement pitches. Talk to you next time.